Guys, I just wanted to make a short tutorial here on how to sleeve your motor leads. So, I would get your heat shrink, cut it to 1 inch, make sure they're all the same. Then, cut the heat shrink off of your bullet right here, right? Then what you want to do, slide your heat shrink. Well, these will already come melted whenever you get them, but once you cut it to the length, you'll want to melt it again. That way it doesn't fray out. Get your sleeving, slide your sleeving on. I would leave it about right there. Then I would hold it, right? Pull it taut so that it's nice and tight, there's no slack. Get you a pen and mark. I would mark it a little long. You can always cut it twice, you know. Mark it a little long. So I'm going to mark mine about right here. I'll come back. Okay, so I got it marked. You can barely see it, right? So cut it. Then you want to make sure you melt it again so it doesn't come unraveled. Let's see how I did on this one. We'll slide it over. Another little test fit. That's about right. And if you make it taut all the way out, all right, that looks good right there. That might be just a little too long, but we'll just slide it down a little bit. I think it'll work. Ideally, you want it like this on this end. About right here on this end. Slide your heat shrink over. Make sure this end is right. Slide it all the way down. Get your heat gun or whatever. If you have to use a lighter, use a lighter. I'm just going to use a lighter real quick. Yes, it'll shrink the heat shrink and start to melt some of that glue. If you have a heat gun, you can do it more uniformly. So that looks pretty good. Now I would give that a minute to cool down so that you're not stretching out that heat shrink. Give that a minute to cool and a little bit for the glue to set. Okay, now that that's cooled down, you can come back, pull this tight. You want it taut so it doesn't look loosey-goosey when you go to fold it back, you know. So you want it tight, right? And you're going to have to hold it. So this one, see, I left it. Ideally, I would think you want to leave a little bit of the lead. But we'll see what this looks like and decide at the end. This looks pretty close to where you want it. So pull it tight. I pull it tight more than once, a couple times, just to make sure. Actually, I think that looks pretty good. That's about where you'll want it right there. It gives you enough room on your bullet and enough like meat on your bullet for the glue to sit and actually take effect. So pull it tight again. Get this heat shrink where you want it. I'll just use my lighter real quick and melt it back down. And I would hold it as it's cooling down, hold the sleeving in place so that it doesn't shrink back on you and give you slack. Make sure that it's real hot around that bullet so that the glue starts to melt. That looks pretty good. Now that that's cool, you can see it looks very uniform. Much better than the other ones that I did. See, this could even come down a little bit if you wanted. When you bend it back, it holds its shape. It doesn't puff out. Hope that helps you guys.